Hello young game designers, it's Andrew Smith here from Spilt Milk Studios. I set up this company about 2 years ago after I worked on Xbox 360 game called Flock, which won a Scottish BAFTA, and we released a game called Hardlines on iOS and Android last year, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. Thank you very much to everyone who sent one in. There were so many that I've only got time really for about 10, so if you sent one in and I don't answer it, I'm really sorry, but like I said, there's lots of them, so on with the show. First up is Bob Jenkins via email. Hi Bob. He asks, I have two. My first question is, what did you learn in school that helped you the most on the job? It's an interesting question, that, because I think I used to be really good at maths, and a lot of people out there who know me will laugh at that, but there was a time when I was very good at maths at GCSE level, and then when I got to A level, something happened and I didn't get along with numbers anymore, and I wish I did, and I still do to this day. Maths is one of the biggest, most important parts of making games, and I think that everyone should learn that. So that's kind of half answered your question. I think art and English helped me a lot though, in what I do as a designer. So I'm able to communicate well, and I'm able to sort of show my ideas and talk about my ideas in a way that people can understand clearly and easily. So there you go. Second question is, would it be better to work with a company or work as your own business when designing a game? Well, I've done both. The reason that I left the working for other companies and to set up my own was because I wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do, but that's not to say that working for a company isn't good as well. So it depends on the kind of game, and it depends on the kind of person you are. So as Spilt Milk Studios, I have to make small games, so there are big games that I want to make that I'm not able to make. I'm going to have to wait years and years and years until I can hire loads and loads of people to make them with me. But yeah, so it kind of depends. I would say that it's always good to work for a big company first, and then you can learn your way around, you can learn the ropes, all the ins and outs and all the difficult bits with a nice big team to help back you up, and then once you're ready you can go and work for yourself. That's what I did anyway. So Jack Barrington on email asks, he says, hi Andrew, hi Jack. What makes a good and memorable villain in video games such as Dr. Eggman and Bowser? I'm finding it pretty difficult designing a villain right now. Okay, well, what I think, it's been a while since I've had to design a bad guy. It's always a good idea to have a very strong silhouette, so when you draw the character, just their outline, you can tell who they are. That works for any character, whether they're good or bad. That helps them become iconic, like Mario with his hat and his jump, or Sonic with his spikes, or the guys Bowser and Eggman. You know, you can tell it's Eggman because he's nice and round, he's got a big bushy moustache and that sort of thing. So that's from a visual standpoint. And I think you need to, as a character, you need to have someone. I mean, the ones you've suggested there are both kind of funny as well, and I think that helps a lot. Because if you make a baddie who's just baddie, like all evil, nobody's going to like them, nobody's going to kind of be rooting for them a little bit, because we all root for Bowser a little bit, you know, we hope that maybe one day he'll get Princess Peach to make him a cake or whatever. So yeah, inject a little bit of humour, make them a little bit vulnerable, make them a little bit weak and a bit silly perhaps, and then it kind of balances it out nicely. Melissa Bennett via email asks, do I ever get creative block when designing games, and if so, what do I do to combat this? Now, I get creative block, I write as well a little bit, and I get creative block writing, I get creative block designing games, but the thing that you must do is you must never stop writing or designing. So even if you're writing down ideas for games that you know are copies of other games, or that you think are bad, then it doesn't matter, you just need to keep doing it and keep doing it, and eventually what will happen is you'll get all the bad ideas out, all the ones that are stopping you, and then you'll come across something really good. So it's very important that you must never stop. That's how I combat it. Also, I listen to music a lot, I read a lot, I play video games obviously, I watch movies and television, and I go to galleries to look at artwork and all kinds of things like that, and play a bit of sport maybe, just anything that helps you have a nice wide range of experiences that you can draw on to design your games from. So I hope that helps. Jack Mortimer via email asks, he says, I have tried making games before, but it's never turned out well. Do you have any advice on where to start? It's a very good question. I think you need to start small. It's very easy, and I still do it even now, and I've been doing this for years and years and years. You need to start small. You need to come up with an idea, and you need to write down as much detail as you can when starting out. And then you need to chop it in half, and then chop it in half again, and then maybe even again, because you do not want to start making a game that you then lose momentum on, or you run out of energy halfway through, or something like that. It sounds like you're starting and then you're not finishing. But if that's not the case and you just don't like the games, well, that doesn't matter either, because it's all a learning process. You need to, it's like with the writer's block or the creative block. You just need to keep making them, and keep doing it and keep doing it, and then eventually you'll get to a point where you really enjoy what you've made, or you're really pleased with it, and then you can use that experience and move on to your next game. And you must learn that, yeah, you must learn not to take criticism too heavily. You know, if something's bad, it's better to know that it's bad so that you can fix it, than if someone doesn't tell you, and then it will sneak through and nobody will like it. From a technical point of view, you know, there are lots of little products out there that will help you make games. People make them in Flash, people make them in Yo-Yo Game Maker, they make them in Unity and things like that, or you can make levels for games that exist, and so there's plenty of places to start, and good luck with it. Zach from Teen Tech asks, do I have fun when you're creating games? Hell yes. You have to. You have to have fun making games, otherwise when you finish the game it won't be fun. If you're not enjoying making it and it's supposed to be fun, how's that? That doesn't work, that doesn't add up. I said I was bad with numbers, that's not numbers, but it's a kind of maths. So yeah, you have to have fun. I think if you're not having fun making a game, then the game itself is probably not very good, and you need to have a think about why that is. And you need to maybe think about how you got into a position where it doesn't feel like it's fun making this game anymore. There's always a point where you kind of making a bit of a game and you'd rather be doing another bit. That's not the same as not being fun. But yeah, you have to have fun making games, and you have to play your game lots and lots and lots to make sure it's fun. So trust your instincts. Chris Baird via email asks, if I could combine the elements from any 3 games from any time period or platform into a completely new game, which games and elements would I choose and why? Crikey. Whew. Well, I really like what Minecraft and that sort of game does with random generation and sort of sharing worlds with players, and I really, really love Nintendo's Zelda series. I think the kind of sense of adventure and discovery and wonder is fantastic. So if I could combine those 2 games, that would be something like my ideal game. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Oh no, but it's 3 games from any time. Okay, so Minecraft, let's say Zelda. I don't know which one. The 3rd Zelda on the SNES. We're talking that really old now. Link to the Past, it's called. And I don't know. Resident Evil 2 had a huge impact on me. The atmosphere, like how cinematic it was. It was scary. You could play the whole story twice from 2 different points of view in the same game, that kind of thing. So maybe I'd combine the sort of the world and the presentation of that with the gameplay of Zelda and the sharing and the cooperative nature and the building of Minecraft. God knows what kind of a game that would make, but we can wait to find out. Maybe I'll make it one day. Wayne Cleve via email asks, realistically, how close do I think gaming can become to real life, including graphics, dimensions, senses and realism, and how long until we get this far? Will there come a time when gaming cannot be improved anymore? Well, gaming will always be improved, I believe, because it's a craft, it's an art, and it won't be dependent on when it looks like real life. But I would think in the next 10 to 15 years, we will, probably before then, we will have photorealistic graphics, so it will look like this video looks, and you'll be playing it, and that will raise a lot of interesting questions, because nobody wants to play a violent game when it looks real, right? And I think it will become incredibly close, and I think the thing that will lag behind is things like artificial intelligence. So someone will look like a real person, but they won't act quite like one. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, that's a good question. David Saponsky from Twitter asks, how important is DLC, downloadable content, to a modern games design, and what content is considered for prospective DLC for games during development? Well, sometimes games, they start off huge and then they have to get cut back so that they hit their release date, because things take longer than people imagine. So sometimes DLC can be made up of elements that wouldn't have made it. Sometimes people plan ahead, and I think that's the best way to answer your question. It's very important, DLC, I believe. Expanding the content of a game beyond its original release. So if there's a cool story, you get more story. If it is loads of cool levels to play, you get more cool levels to play. But it's very important to make sure that you don't do it cynically, so you don't take advantage of the fact that people like one thing and you just release bits and bobs that don't really add anything. You know, it's called games as a service, and I think that's very important moving forward. I think fans of games will want to play a game, and one or two games, tons and tons and tons, and the more great content you can provide them with, the better. Teresa Connolly from Twitter asks, is games development only a man's world? Well, when I started, it was more of a man's world, and it's getting less and less and less every day. Nowadays there's lots of girls in games development, and there should be more, though. You know, we should get up to 50-50. We're a little way off. But I think if you want to get into games, you should, definitely. There's nothing holding you back, and best of luck. Greg Salt via email gets the last question. How do you decide which platform you'll develop your next game for? Well, it's a combination of time and money and skill. I have to decide whether I'm confident that we can move to a different platform because it's different technology, we have to redevelop things, and that's all very boring reasons, but the most important one is whether a game fits a platform. So I would not want to make a first-person shooter for my iPhone, because I don't believe that it's suited to the touchscreen interface or the size of the screen. However, well, just like I wouldn't want to make a touch interface puzzle game for an Xbox 360, because there's no touch, right? So you have to think about it that way. And that's it, I'm afraid. I've got time. I think I might have run over already. I do have to say one or two things. If you'd like to learn some more about games and what it's like to design them, be sure to check out. There's loads of other videos on the BAFTA Young Game Designers website. The URL is ygd.bafta.org, and there's a competition you can enter. You can enter with an idea for a game, or a game that you've actually made, or even both, it says here, if you're super keen. And there's just time. I do have to pick a winner from the questions, and I think the best question came from Melissa Bennett about the creative block. I believe that was a very insightful question. And well done, Melissa. You have won a PS3 game, which will be winging its way to you in the post soon. And that's it. Thank you very much to everyone who sent in a question, even the people that didn't get it read out. And best of luck to all of you. And I hope to see you making games with me in the future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.